Hello, this is Jesse Rodriguez Melendez from All Bases Covered, and welcome to Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV channels 249, 250, and 251. Please remember to download both the Zingo TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. The app is free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV Sticks, Roku, and Roku 6. Also, all on smart TVs 2016 and forward. And today is going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing show because I have one of my very favorite baseball people ever on the broadcast with me today. And so, without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Hector Burials to our show today. Hector, I am so super thrilled to have you. I know we have the little guy in the background, and this is a family show. So if he wants to come on and say hello, we'd love to see the handsome guy. I know that we're gearing him up for baseball from the womb. And so, Hector, I am so super excited to have you on with us today. We're going to talk a little bit about some of your projects. And obviously, I want to dive deep for our audience a little bit more about who you are and what you do. The fabulous Hector Burials, who has now released Unleash
Picturing
the
you.
Picture in You, and some of the other great, great tools that you have now created to help so many in the baseball world. But before we get into that, I thought that it would be awesome for you to just talk to us a little bit about who is Hector Burials. Tell us where you're from. How did you get started in the world of sports and baseball in particular? And what drove you to have this kind of a career?
Well, I grew up in New York City. I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in New York City. Let me bring this guy here. Come here, Nick.
Oh, yeah, bring it on.
Meet meet Jesse. Meet Jesse. Meet Jesse.
Hi, handsome.
Say
What's
hi.
up, buddy? Hi. He's so awesome.
So I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in New York City, in the Bronx. Did all the little leagues and the youth baseball leagues all the way through high school. Went to James Monroe with Mike Turo, who's still there to this day. And then went on to college out into Oklahoma. Went to a school by the name of Connor State College. I followed my dreams of trying to become a Major League Baseball player, and I was able to get drafted. And the journey has been long, and now I have grown gray hairs through the process, and now here I'm on the other end with you on All the Bases Covered, a fun show that I've done in the past, and I really enjoy doing it all the time with you. You're a great host, and just here to share my baseball knowledge, as well as now my starting getting off the block type of business venture that I've been into the last 2 years.
And so, for those of us that know Hector a little bit more intimately, I just want to share he's not just this phenomenal pitching guru, he's also a phenomenal dancer. Hector, I know that you've performed on some of the biggest stages. How do you feel like some of this has prepared you for this new world that you're in? You've now built out your own business,
Mhm.
particularly in sports and baseball. But how have some of all of this that encompasses who Hector Berrio is, how did all of this lead you to prepare for the person that you are today and for the businesses that you're running?
Well, from being a young growing boy to a young man in New York City, I danced, like parallel both dancing and baseball together. I used to get in all sorts of trouble because I had contracts on the dancing side that I couldn't break, and then miss a lot of the games that I had during my high school tenure. But I performed on the stages of Carnegie Hall, Madison Square Garden. I traveled to Europe at the age of 15, Morocco, in front of sold out packed arenas. I did it again after I retired from baseball. Was in videos and like with Mark Anthony, Combinación Perfecta was all the all stars of the salsa world. I also did movies with Carlitos Way and Cowboy Way, Al Pacino being in front of all these people. So it was something like it was just natural for me in a sense because I was always in that platform type of environment that things really never phased me, and I just was able to focus a little bit more on what I wanted to do because by having the examples before me that you can basically, I could have touched and shook Liza Minnelli's hand when I was a little child, who she was like the most famous thing at the time. But being backstage with the village people, I mean, just so many names that like right now off the top of my head, it's tough, but you know, it was a great experience to put me where I ended up. Then in professional baseball, I had to do a lot of presentations and a lot of things where I was a nervous wreck, but nevertheless was able to stay focused and get the job done. And in the process, learn so much from so many different people. And eventually, without realizing, I was formulating and putting together a system for baseball, and to this day now I have a whole curriculum from start to finish. And right now I'm working with a international prospect. This last year I've already been involved with close to $4 million worth of international talent that signed with the major leagues, and I have one now that the other day, which is like so satisfying for me. We were panicking because I've only worked with him for 2 weeks, and he was throwing 90, 91 last week. And then he just threw yesterday. He was up to 93, 94. So all the work is starting to pay off. And this guy's going to be another one of those guys to add to those 4 million that I've been involved with thus far this last year.
Yeah, it's awesome, Hack. Um, I know that a couple of years ago you released your first book,
Hmm.
um, Unleash the Pitcher in You. Talk to me a little bit about the work that you've included in that book, why you decided to write it,
Hmm.
and what's been the feedback you've gotten.
For everybody and all of you that are on the other side now listening to me, I would this is an advice that I have for anybody. When you see things that are at the worst, like you're in the darkest point of your life, sometimes that brings out the best things in your life. And for me, I had my best coaching year with the Dodgers, and I was actually fired. And I was fired because somebody was came in, wanted to bring their own people, and they just got rid of whoever was there. Didn't matter what you did, they just wanted to bring it. So I ended up with the Philadelphia Phillies. But during that time of darkness for me, now you're without a job. Baseball careers are on a yearly basis for the most part. So now where am I going to get money from? And all those things. But it motivated me to say to myself, you know what? I've put so much time and work into this business. I've learned from so many people, and I started to have a system, and then I just started like writing, one chapter at a time, and they just kept coming, and I just kind of systematically went through a book and met some very interesting people. I met a parent that was a writer for Chuck Scarborough and Sue Simmons in New York. I was teaching her son, and then I told her that I wrote a book, and she asked me, "Did it get copywritten?" And I said, "No." She goes, "Get it copyrighted, and then send it to me." And she became my editor, free of charge. Not free of charge because I was teaching her son, but
Of
she
course.
ended up doing that. You were part of the process. I kept asking you a lot of questions and advice during the process. So really appreciate you because you've always given me great advice. And this kid from the South Bronx, a kid, a Puerto Rican, everything is basically against us, against the world. If you look at it from that perspective, I never looked at it from that perspective. I always saw opportunities, and I was going to make the most of it and seize every moment that I had a chance to. And the book was just something that was a transition in my life, and it's something that I'm most proud of because when I'm no longer here, my book will still be a legacy that I leave behind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that then transitioned to you creating a very, very cool tool that is now being used internationally, not just here in the US, but internationally as well. Talk to us about your target. What is it meant for, and what led you to create it? What need did you see needed to be filled? What gap was there for players that you felt I need to create this?
Okay, before I answer that question, there's one little thing I want to share with the book
Sure.
that I wrote a book in Weston, Florida, in my living room, and every day I would just wake up, go to the gym, go eat, come home and write. Once that was over, that book again, had a life of its own, and it started to run. But the funny thing is that now I look on Amazon, and I've sold books in Japan, in Australia and Canada. So my book has gone all over Denmark, all over the world, and that's fascinating to know that. But getting to your question, I work with a lot of major league players in the off season, and one of them was Jeremy's Familia. Especially everybody from New York knows that name, who was the closer of the New York Mets. I work with Jeremy's, and the year that I worked with him, it was the year of the World Baseball Classic. So we worked, and then he wanted to now try all the stuff that he had learned, and wanted to put it to use before the World Baseball Classic. And then he went to Dominican. He started working there, trying all the stuff and feeling comfortable with it. He went to the baseball classic, the World Baseball Classic, and he was a 96 to 97 type of pitcher. And in the classic, he was 100 to 101 miles an hour. So that was like amazing. All the stuff that we put together, he was able to apply it, and his velocity went up. But working with Jeremy's, I used to do all these sensory drills with him, and then after I finished the workout, at the end, let's try to put everything together and throw to a target. And a parent had given me a target. It was like a little league target, yellow leather with a U upside down. Oh no, a black U in the middle. And I used to have him throw to that, and I used to look at myself, think to myself, it's like, how can I have a major league pitcher with me right here, and I haven't thrown to that, a little league target? There's just no way. I need to come up with something that I think that he would get better use and would really get more out of it than just throwing it. And so I came up with the target with 8 different locations. All the locations are the locations that a major league pitcher needs to hit with his fastball, breaking balls, and then moving the ball around and expanding the zone. So there he can be by himself. He doesn't need a catcher. He just puts this up, and now he can get the work that it's needed. So that's how that came in. It was just a blessing and something that God gifted me with, and now I'm able to share it with the world as well. This
What
target has gone all over the place.
and
It's
what we're seeing on the screen right now, Hector, is that you have it in 5 different colors. Is it
Yes.
based on, is there a reason for that, or is it just you just wanted to have a variety of colors?
Well, I started with red and not really thinking about it. It was just I was with the Phillies, and that was the color that the catcher had. And then I started thinking a little bit more outside the box, and I was like, wow, Vanderbilt, the University of Vanderbilt ordered one from me. The New York Mets ordered one from me, and I was like, Vanderbilt is like a dark blue color. The New York Mets have royal blue with orange. So I started thinking. I said, man, I can make a target for just about any school, any color. So let me get the basic 5: the green, the navy blue, the red, the royal blue, and the black. And it's been a hit. Now I get orders of all different colors, and then because of that, now I'm going to hit a different market. So I have something in the back burner that I've already started cooking, and
Mhm.
hopefully it'll be ready very soon.
And so if someone wanted to customize one, can they get one customized for their organization?
Well, the customization comes in the basic colors.
Gotcha.
Like if they're green, if the Oakland A's 1-1, I have a green one for them. If the Reds, red. If the Yankees, I have royal blue. The Braves, I try to match every team. I know, like Colorado Rockies, they have purple, I think, and black. So the black goes with that, those colors.
And now this is not just for professional baseball players. Let's say if a parent wanted to order one, they can order one for their
Yes,
baseball.
I get a lot of orders from girls softball. Uh,
Oh, awesome.
so I've already went on. I'm getting one of those done as we speak. And
Love
that's
it.
my next market. And I think that that's going to hit even more than the baseball market, because females and women like their niche and their thing, and I put something in their lane so they can enjoy and get the most out of it. And the other thing is that when you look at parks and there's girls that pitch, they're pitching to their father. And then I have a friend in a sporting goods store, and he tells me, "You have no idea. I have parents, fathers come in here with lumps on their shins because their daughters hit them with a hard softball." So I think that this will answer their their thing that they're going through, so they won't have any more. They won't risk any injuries anymore with their kids.
I love it. And so I've had the great fortune through the Sports Business Institute to work with you
Mm-hmm.
hand in hand on especially a new project that you're going to be launching that I have said for years that I know is going to make such a huge impact in the world of baseball. I feel like once you launch this, it is taking you to another hemisphere. I've always said that. Without giving away too much, because I know that you're still working on the project, could you share a little bit about what this new project will mean to not just the professional baseball player that I definitely know can benefit from it, but from the community of baseball as a whole?
Well, first and foremost, this side of the business, I genuinely want to thank you. I almost want to tear up because you've been a tremendous inspiration to me.
Mm,
And I know that you work extremely hard and you've always been there, and you kind of put me under your wing. And I know that what you're about to continue to embark on, and all the endeavors that you do, and you help people, that's going to go a very long way.
yeah, thank you.
So give me a second while I uh, get myself back together. Getting back to the the thing that we just embarking on without giving out too much or giving away too much. Jesse has been instrumental to getting me the people to at least get me in the right direction with websites, with ideas for the book, with everything that I've asked her. She's always had great answers for me. So now this is one of the ones that she encouraged me, because a lot of times that you're a little bit hesitant, and you start like kind of questioning what it is that you want to do, but you're sometimes a little hesitant to do it. And she's pushed me over the edge to get some momentum, and it's taken time. And not to tell you that it's been easy work, but it's been hard to get it together. But now what we're talking about is teaching, the teaching part, where it's taken me so many years being about around so many great instructors, so many great people, that it didn't matter if it was a teammate, if it was a colleague, if it was another player talking to a bunch of other players to give them advice, and share their careers and all the things that they learned through it, so they can make theirs a little bit easier. I've been privy to a lot of those types of meetings, and I was a person that always wrote everything down. And I think that's why I ended up writing a book, because I had, without realizing, a system. And then with time, my last boss with the Phillies asked us to put everything in a PowerPoint presentation. And I just thought to myself, I said, you know what? I have my own system. I have my own computer. So let me start just putting presentations together, because I can use these presentations to teach my pitchers. The pitchers that I was giving this information to, as a unit, ended up being number one, number two, no lower than number three in all the respective leagues that I was in. And then towards the end, I was having guys throw no hitters, which I had never done in the previous 15. I came close, but never a no hit. And all of a sudden, I had three no hitters in a matter of 5 years span. That's extremely hard to do, and having them at the top of the level in pitching. Not only that, within those players, guys started going to the big leagues real fast. So they started kind of getting there and at an accelerated pace, which is usually baseball. You go step by step. These guys were skipping levels because they started to know, based on the information that I was sharing with them, that they were putting these things together. And if they put those things together faster rather than later, they would shoot like skyrockets to the big leagues. And that's why now I'm able to take that basically unique situation that I encountered and put it in different forms of systems, where it's a book. And now like basically I could say it's going to be an online course, and that now people can now come and in different ways, different angles, come and learn the game of baseball, which is easy to watch in a way, but it's extremely hard to
Mhm.
execute when you're in between the lines. And that's why they have different levels. You don't hardly see a guy go from college to the major leagues like they do in the NBA or the NFL. This the only sport that you have to basically is extremely hard. You have to run, you have to field, you have to throw, you have to hit. There's so many things that you have to do well. Even the great Michael Jordan didn't do as well as people would think that he would do because he was such a great athlete.
So now, and you and I have spoken about this a million times. I know what makes this so special. I know why this is going to be such a huge impact. But there's tons of other courses that people can take out there. Why is this one going to be so super spectacular?
Because this is the one that I was able to see with my own eyes and see the experience that I have. I have some amazing stories. Let me run and get the door for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah, yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
right back.
So while Hector does that, I just want to say, for those of you that are listening in, Hector Burials, again, has been a professional baseball pitching instructor for over 20 years. And he's worked with some of the best in the industry. And so, based on some of the work that I had watched, and I've been behind the scenes a little bit with Hector and have seen some of the material that he's worked on and will be sharing soon in these new courses that he's going to launch. Absolutely spectacular, spectacular. The content that you share in this, Hector,
Mhm.
is absolutely, really priceless. The fact that you're putting it out and you're willing to create something where others are going to be able to come alongside you and learn not just great content, but learn from your life experiences through the process. That's why I think that this is what's going to set it apart. It's just going to be something that will make them such a well-rounded baseball player. And really take them to heights just based on some of the stuff that I've seen, because you get very, very technical in a lot of your material. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not just like a 1, 2, or 3 or a bullet point. It's like you're really walking them through this process. And you get very like there's science to this. And I mean, it's just spectacular the way you put it together. So again, without telling exactly what's going to be in it, could you share just a little bit about what you're going to be including in some of it?
Um, the thing that I'm starting with is a thing that a lot of people really don't understand. It's called pitch sequencing, and that's the approach that a hitter has when he steps up to the plate, what he wants to do. So aside from analytics, the mental part that they come in looking for is something to make hitting as easy as it can, but it's the hardest thing to do in all sports. It's a
Mhm.
round ball, round bat trying to meet square and hit with a guy throwing 95, and then he changes speeds and locations. It's just so many things that so many variables that he's faced with in order to be a good hitter. So I've kind of like broken down all the little things and shared videos of professional baseball players doing certain things that just work. If you're able to locate your pitches. If you can't locate your pitches, this becomes like I'm speaking Chinese arithmetic or doing Chinese arithmetic. So it's so complicated, but it becomes easy when you're able to locate three pitches and know exactly what to do in all the counts and all the situations. So that's the first thing that I'm gonna tackle and put out there in volume one. And then after that, the library continues with mechanics, the way I see mechanics to be. And the reason I believe in my mechanics, the way I teach it, is because I learned, especially when I went to the Dodgers, on how to use the lower half. And ever since that, I've seen so many guys throw a lot harder. I don't experience any injuries because they use the big muscles. They locate better, and that's the reason that these guys got to the big league. So that's what I'm sharing with them, all of the transformations that have happened through my on my watch, so to speak. And now I've taken that and broken it down to the simplest term. I don't want to complicate things in this day and age. Is like the guy that says the biggest terms or the scientific terms is the one that, no, I'm going to make it that a little kid can understand exactly what it is, even though it's very advanced. And I really look forward to seeing the reaction. So far, I have YouTube channels that not my own, but I've been on other people's channels. YouTube, you go pro baseball is one of them that has kind of like had me on the show, and I've broken down a lot of things in that program. And they get to see a little bit of what I do, and then behind the scenes is it's the interesting part. How does this person get these guys to be so good at the major league level?
Now, what I love about everything that you've launched and will launch is that they all feed off of each other,
Yes.
right? So if someone buys the book, they certainly can use the target and learn how to use the target based on what you teach in the book. And now to take it a step further, they're going to be able to delve deeper with Hector Burials in this new launch. And what I've always said is that I see Hector then going further than courses and actually coaching people through this process. And that's something that you and I have been talking now about for quite some time. And that's really truly what I see happening for you. And, what I would love, Hector, for you to share with the audience here is one, tell us how we can find you. How can people be in contact with you if they want to, reach out to you and, they want to buy a book or they want to get a target? How do they find you?
Well, I'm on all the social medias, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, but you can reach me by HLB Pitching. That's my handle. And I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on everything, every social media that I can try to put myself on with the limited of experience I have with that aspect. But I've become a good editor and all those things with videos. So I've done a pretty good job with that. So then that, and then you can also email me at hlbpitching.com. hlbpitching@gmail.com.
Awesome.
And that's my Gmail
And
address.
then also hlbpitching.com is
Well,
your website.
that's my website.
Okay,
So
perfect.
everything is HLB Pitching, and then everything that I do will pop up some way somehow.
And so now that you've gone through such a wonderful career. I mean, it has spanned what, over 20 years, 25 years,
35 years, really.
35 years. Okay. I was
I signed my first professional
when
contract
you were two.
in 1983.
My gosh.
And
What
then I had a couple of like stints where I retired and then got back into the coaching. But I mean, really, it spanned over 35 years, and I've done everything. The only thing I did not do was play in the big leagues. I was hurt. I have a Tommy John scar here. Let me see. For those
Yep.
baseball people
Yep.
that know about that injury, I had that, and that kind of cut my career short. And then I got into coaching because I knew I had a lot to be able to share with young pitchers, especially at that time. There weren't many Spanish coaches, and I had to do a lot of the interpreting for the American coaches. They would ask me, "Hey, Hector, come over here," and then I would go to the shortstop, second, wherever they were teaching something. I had to go and interpret. So that also expanded my knowledge in all positions because I had to do that quite often, and then I knew that there was a need for that, and I can't thank God for giving me the thought to want to coach. And here I am with all these things that you would not think that you would be able to do. Like there's no way that I did all of these things, but it
And
did
so
happen.
that brings me to my next question. Will your material be available in other languages, especially in
Well,
Spanish?
I have it in Spanish now, but like obviously when you go through this process, the person that did everything, they just translate word for word, and now you have to go through it and make sure that everything makes sense in the baseball terms. So I've done that. I've already extended to that point, and
So
that's
you're
coming.
speaking of the book specifically.
Yeah, that's for the book. Yeah,
Okay.
that's for the book. I usually anything that's in Spanish, I do my presentations in English and interpret everything in Spanish for my Spanish speaking audience.
So speak to your Spanish speaking audience. What would you like them to know?
A los latinos, yo soy un puertorriqueño que nació en Puerto Rico, obviamente, y me crié en Nueva York y tengo más de 23 años como instructor en nivel profesional, como instructor de lanzadores y fui lanzador aquí en los Estados Unidos hasta el nivel de AAA y también estuve en entrenamiento de grandes ligas, piché en Dodger Stadium, que fue lo máximo de mi carrera, poder hacer eso y también jugué en Puerto Rico, representé el país mío, Puerto Rico, en la Serie del Caribe en 2 ocasiones y ahora tuve el dicho y la fortuna de poder enseñarle a jóvenes de Venezuela, México, de Puerto Rico, de Venezuela, de Cuba y de todos los países latinoamericanos, colombianos ahora que están envueltos en el deporte, que es un placer para mí poder hablar español y cuando yo me crié y fui a Puerto Rico por primera vez nunca pude hablar ni una palabra de español. La entendía pero no podía expresarme y en el día de hoy aquí estoy hablando español perfectamente para mí, comunicando con ustedes.
Y ahí lo tienen. Tienen que comprarle el libro que se llama eh, um,
Unleash the Picture in You.
Unleash the Picture in You, pero ya mismo se va a lanzar en español también. So, tengan en mente que ya van a poder comprar el libro también en español. Y también hay otras instrucciones que Hector va muy pronto va a lanzar y bueno, aquí vamos a estar para compartir con todos ustedes también en español, no solamente en inglés.
Sí.
So I'm beyond excited. I know that everything that you do with your whole heart. I know that this is a sport that you have loved for many, many years.
Mm.
It has brought you literally around the world because you have not only played, but you've also taught internationally. And I know that you've worked with a lot of international players as well. Of the players that you're working with right now, what are some of the expectations that you're hoping for?
The amateur ones or the major league ones?
Either all of them.
Well, I have one in particular in Cincinnati. I have a kid by the name of Vladimir Gutierrez that I helped him. He didn't have any offers. He was the rookie of the year in Cuba, and then something happened with his delivery, his velocity, and then I was able to get him straight. And before you know it, he started throwing 92, 93, 94, and it just kept going up to 98 miles an hour. And a kid that was not getting any offers ended up getting $4.75 million from the Cincinnati Reds. So he's struggling at the moment. He's made some adjustments. He kind of veered off and started doing other things, and now he wanted to go back. And then obviously I'm on the phone with him, and we broke down a lot of the videos from last year where he was having a good season and he was doing the things that were helping him be the best he can be. So anyway, to make a long story short, now he's back at 95, 96, 97 miles an hour, throwing with his fastball and just getting his mind right to get big league hitters out. Going all the way down the totem pole, I worked with a young girl by the name of Valentina, and she's a 12-year-old who threw a no-hitter about 2 weeks ago, a 5-inning no-hitter against the boys, and then the last game she struck out 3 in 2 innings. So she's phenomenal, unbelievable.
Girl,
And
power,
then
yes.
and then I have Reuben Mines. He's an international prospect. Again, he was 93, 94 yesterday, and now we expect him to be breaking that 95, 96 range, and he'll be a top guy right now. Getting a multi-million-dollar contract from some team.
So when Hector Burials is not working on his books or targets or courses, what is Hector Burials working with, or what is he doing? What do you spend the rest
Well,
of
there's so many things. Like I have to send out so many targets. The targets get ordered every day, so I have to send them out. Package them, go to the post office, and deliver all the targets that I have. I also work with Stefan in the Philippines. That's our part of your team, putting the courses together, and he put the website together and all the things that I need for that. Try to do all the social media to have people be aware of what they could take advantage of to help them. So I'm pretty tight. Then I have a business now in New York City. I have a place called Prime Prospect Indoor Facility, baseball facility in Forest Hills, New York. And we're doing things there for the community to try to bring education to the community as far as baseball is concerned. We have a lot of programs coming out of there. So there's a lot of things going on. I don't think I have time to breathe. When I realize what's going on, the day's already gone. I get on Zoom calls and I have my international guys in the Dominican, uh, Colombia, and Venezuela. I get them on a Zoom call. I bring in somebody that is a friend of mine through all the years that I put in the game, whether it's an international scouting director, assistant general manager. I get them on the call and then let them share what they're looking for so they don't get nervous when they go to try out, and they know what to expect, and how to basically act professionally to do a tryout, not try to do more than they are capable of doing. And I also do what I'm doing with the online courses. I do it personally with them, interacting back and forth to make sure that they understand how to become a better pitcher.
Yeah, and with what we see happening in Major League, not just baseball, but just sports in particular, how important is it for these players, especially these players that aspire to be professionals? How important is it for them to have the plan B?
Well, that's the niche that I've created in that international market, because every single guy basically, he has to have talent, obviously, but every single guy that has talent ends up getting a lot of money, because I bring the routine of a professional to the amateur side. So when the scouts start to see that player, they're like horning in on everything that he does, and they're like, "Wow, this guy is advanced." So not only does he have a great routine, all the things that prepare him before he gets on the mound, but when he gets on the mound, he shows intelligence. He shows the ability to locate three pitches, and doing it where he's basically just dominating the opposition just on knowledge alone. It's not like you're trying to overthrow, but they don't have to overthrow. It's looking smooth, throw hard, locate, and all of a sudden they're like, this guy's going to get to the big league. This is a fast track guy, and that's what I've instilled in them. So when the scouts see them, and not only that, when they are interested in them, they ask them questions. But they've been so versed on the material that anytime they ask them a question, they know exactly what answer to give them, and it makes them seem like, wow, this guy's so intelligent. But it's that they've been practicing quite a bit before they got to the limelight, and they were on stage. So that's
And
that's
so one of the things I've always admired about you, Hector, is that you have this no excuses attitude. It's like we got to get stuff done. We'll get stuff done. When we had our baseball facility, we used to bring you often, and you'd work from early to late, and you were all game for whatever needed to be done.
mm,
I admire that also because you're also a family man. You have a wife, you have children, and we now have this beautiful baby boy that
mhm.
you're also, parenting. And so, how do you balance everything?
Well, I mean, my wife, I have to give a lot of credit to, because she does a lot of the balancing for me. But we have a 2-year-old, and he's in school. Um, I take him in at 9, and then he gets out at 3. So he lets me do all the work that I need to do during that time. And then now we're going to extend it to 5. So I don't pick him up after nap time. I pick him up after an activity. But that really sets me up for my day. And then obviously we have to find the nannies or the babysitters that can be here while I go to Mexico and work with the Luis Danis, who just got $3 million from the Oakland A's. So I have to be able to do that. I'll go to New York for a week. Who's going to take care of the baby during that time?
Right.
So luckily, I have a little bit of help. We have daughters that sometimes step in. We have friends, close friends. So we kind of mix and match and make it work.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you for making it work,
Hmm.
for staying consistent, for serving to such a high degree, for doing everything that you do in excellence. I've always admired that about you. And for being an impact and a huge, the difference maker, because it's, for those of us that are involved in this in the world of sports, especially when we've worked with the youth, I always say that we're not here just to make a dollar. We're here to truly make a difference in the lives of these young people. And it's folks like you that are going to make this all um, worth doing, right?
Hmm.
Because there's so much noise now in the world of sports. There's so many people that want to play the role and they've never really lived it, right?
Hmm.
They want to step into these roles and they want to play a role that they've never lived. And it's very different when you've actually lived it and when you've had to cry tears, real tears, from going to sleep really late or waking up really early, because a lot of this takes a lot of hard work. This is not stuff that you can suddenly be. It's you really have to put in the work for it. And so, with all the years that you've invested in the sport, it's so wonderful to know that now this sport, you can also continue to take care of others, but it now can serve you and it can take care of you and it can take care of your
Hmm.
family. And so, if there's one thing that I would love for the message to be today is that yes, it takes hard work to be in the world of sports, and yes, you should never do this just for the basis of making money, because it's so much deeper than that. But what other piece of advice would you offer a young person who wants to get into this as a career?
First, I think that you have to have a deep belief in yourself. If you believe in your heart, I was always smaller. This I was not American, so to speak, back then.
Right,
So I had every excuse in the book. But if I didn't believe in myself and that I knew I had the talent, all of a sudden, guys that were pitching, I was converted to be a pitcher at the professional level. So I had to learn from scratch at that level because I was training to be a center fielder. I got drafted as a center fielder and converted to be a pitcher. So now I was like, how do you do this? And believe me, I took my lumps and bumps, but never gave up and always had that belief. So I would say always come back to conviction, to belief. If you feel like you can do something, people gonna try to knock you down or say something. Even your closest people, it could be your own parents or your siblings. They'll tell you something to kind of bring you down. And I look at it this way: if I have such a belief in what I do, whatever they say, it's like they're on mute. I can't hear what they. I just see them moving, but nothing comes in to this brain that's gonna set me aside from my journey that I have a vision of.
right.
So the number one thing I would just say is belief. You're gonna get knocked down. You just gotta get up. There's gonna be very rainy, stormy days, but the sun always comes out. And usually, when the sun comes out, something great happens when you go through that threshold. That's
Yeah,
been my experience. So believe
I
and
agree.
never give up. And if you get knocked down, what is the silver lining that I've learned? And that thing that's gonna propel me and push me forward further than I ever thought I was gonna get because of that experience that I thought was the worst thing in the world at the time.
I agree. Yeah, it follows along the theme of one of my favorite quotes ever, and that is by John Lennon, which is "Life is what happens while we're busy making plans."
Mm, beautiful.
And so, we have to make sure that while we're preparing, we also stay open to the ideas that perhaps God just may have something else in store for us. But, so wonderful for you who, put in all the time, all the effort, worked hard, and now you didn't, like so many others that I've heard that have gone through baseball and the career of baseball, and then it ends and it's sort of like, that's it, it ended. You are now taking every life lesson that you learned through that and propelling yourself, but while you're doing so, you're bringing others with you and you're creating an impact for the next generations that will come. And so, for that, I am eternally grateful. At the core, and the reason why I do everything that I do in the sports industry is because I truly believe that we need to leave this legacy for the generations that are coming more so than ever.
Mhm.
with everything that our world has encountered. And so, with that, Hector, I want to say thank you so much for being with me today. Just want to remind everyone, if you want to be in contact with Hector, it is hlbpitching.com. You can find him on all the social media sites. DM him, send him your email so that he can keep you informed on all these wonderful, wonderful, things that he has in the works. We wouldn't want to leave you behind when he launches something new. We want to make sure that you know. So go on to Instagram or to Facebook or LinkedIn and just shoot him a DM. Give him your email so that he can add you to his list and you can always stay informed. And Hector, any last words that you would like to share? We'd love to hear.
Well, just to making sure that the HLB Gmail
HLB. All right. So say
at
again.
Gmail,
Tell
HLB at Gmail is my email address. Aside
HLBpitching at gmail.com.
HLB pitching at gmail.com. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So there you go. HLBpitching at gmail.com. Be sure to stay in contact with Hector. You're not going to want to miss anything new that he has to share. I also want to share that next week on Friday, I will be doing a very special interactive masterclass on the over 25 different avenues of income you can create if you are in the sports industry and want to learn all of the different aspects and ways that you can create revenue for yourself. If you're a sports leader or a sports entrepreneur, don't miss it. Be sure to you can catch me on any of the social media sites, or you can email me at jrmpcc@gmail.com. um, I again just want to thank our very special guest, Hector Burials, for being here with us again today. Make sure to get his book, Unleash the Pitcher in You, his target, which is Pro Command. Hect, is that
Yes.
the
The
name of
Pro
your
Command.
target?
Yes.
Pro Command, and launching very soon some really special, special, special courses you are not going to want to miss out on. It's been my pleasure to have you on with me here today. And I'm sure this is not going to be the last time, Hack. I want to have you on, especially when you're ready to, launch this new project. I think that it's going to be so special. Maybe we'll bring some people with us, give them a little bit of an insight as to what you're going to be launching right before it launches so that we can exclusively share with our audience of all bases covered. And I'm sure that I could tweak Hector's arm a little bit into giving us something special just for our audience here. I'll make sure that I work on something for you guys. And in the meantime, Hector, thank you again. Please give this beautiful baby boy of yours a kiss from us. Yeah, can't wait to have you on the show again with us in the near future. Have an
Well,
amazing, amazing week. I know that you have a lot planned for the rest of your week.
mhm.
And I'll look forward to seeing you on our next show.
Well, thank you for having me. Just like always, I wish you nothing but the best in the future and all the bases covered and everything else that you do. So thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Heck.
Take care.
And so there we have it. With us, Hector Berrios. Always wonderful to catch up with Hector and see what he's been working on. And one of the things that I love to do when I'm working with the coaches through Sports Business Institute is really delve deep into what their goals and what their aspirations are. It's never about what I only see for them. It's also about what is it that's really at the core of their mission? What is their vision? What is it that they're wanting to put out? And so with Hector, as we've worked through some of his projects, I've seen clearly for years what an impact his material could make on the world of baseball and baseball players and organizations. And as Hector said, he not only works with one-on-one pitchers, but this has become a global thing where now it's being introduced to organizations and to different players throughout the world. And my hope is that as we continue to put out material, whether it be Hector Burials or any of the other, wonderful coaches that I'm working with, that it will continue to create the impact that is so needed, especially in the world of sports. And I love that Hector said that he's working with a young lady now because I feel like women really need to have a voice in the world of sports. We need more women to get involved. That was one of the things that I will always felt challenged by. How am I going to be perceived in the world of sports, or how are men going to react to the fact that I'm coaching them through a process of consulting them in their businesses? But the fact is that I know what I know. I did it really well for over 13 years in our own facility. And so, having the privilege of now sharing it with other coaches, and being able to provide other coaches with insight for all of this, for me is what makes this all worth it. This is what makes it worth it. And so, Hector, I know that you're still there with us.
Mhm.
One of the things that I forgot to ask you, and I really wanted to know a little bit more about, is, are you just local now in Florida, or are you still traveling to work with players throughout the United States and even internationally?
Well, I get hired to go to do like a weekend clinic, Ohio, California, Texas, and then I have people that come to visit me from out of town. And then I have the New York location where now I'm going to have people meet me in New York, and I'll be able to use the facility to train them there because there's a weight training facility and there's mounds and there's everything there for me to develop. So I'm doing um, like everywhere. And then I also travel to like Mexico. I just came back from there, Dominican, um, to continue to train players that are abroad. So everywhere.
All right, so there you have it. Again, if you want to reach out to Hector, go to his social sites, be in contact with him there. You can reach him again at hlbpitching.com. And, if you want to find me, you could definitely find me or reach out to me on any of the social sites. And as we end this show, I, just want to thank Hector again. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish Radio Network. So it was wonderful that we were sharing in Spanglish today, Heck. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Make each day amazing on purpose, and remember to always stay unbeatable. I thank everyone so much for tuning in today on All Bases Covered, and I look forward to catching everyone next week right here, same exact time, Wednesday, 4 p.m., All Bases Covered. I'm your host, Jessie Rodriguez Melendez, and I look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Thank you for tuning in.